Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Political Brown Kid here, and I just wanted to leave you with just this little snippet. It's one from one of my favorite television shows, Game of Thrones. If anybody has watched that or was a fan of it, everyone knows it. It was a pretty great show if you're into that type of content. I know a lot of people they just weren't into those type of shows, but I definitely dug it. I thought it was fantastically written, at least the first 4 seasons, possibly even 5 seasons, but definitely a great show. And I want to play a snippet because this kind of sets up um, just of the conversation that I want to talk about. And this is a conversation in which this young child has been promoted to king due to his father dying. Well, he's been king for a minute, but he's a very cruel and immature individual. But he is the king. But like I said, he's very cruel, very immature, and mostly his grandfather controls. His grandfather is the true power of the kingdom. For those who are not familiar with the show, but in this episode, he's talking to his uncle. So his uncle is on the show. His uncle is a little person. So his uncle kind of gets ridiculed, but his uncle is very witty and very smart. So his uncle comes back at him with some witty lines. So then he has to proclaim that himself as the king, and he has to reinforce and let everyone know at the table, in the room, in the council room, know that he is the king, and he's reiterating that to his uncle and threatening his uncle. But then his grandfather steps in and reminds him of something very important. And his grandfather says something important, and I want to kind of tie it into this conversation that I want to have with you all. So just kind of listen to the snippet, and we're going to talk about it.
You do well to remember that, you little monster.
Oh, monster. Perhaps you should speak to me more softly then. Monsters are dangerous, and just now kings are dying like flies.
I could have your tongue out for saying that. Let him make his threats. He's a bitter little man.
Lord Tyrion should apologize immediately. Unacceptable, disrespectful, and in very bad taste.
I am the king. I will punish you.
Any man who must say, "I am the king," is no true king. I'll make sure you understand that when I've won your war for you.
So, as you heard, the grandfather, after his grandson after the grandson tells the uncle, "I am the king," the grandfather steps in and tells the grandson, "Look, any man who has to say, 'I am the king' is no true king." And then he says, "And I'll make sure you understand that when I won your war for you." And I'm basically bringing that up to say this. Anytime a people, and I've kind of even talked about this in my older videos, and I'm bringing it up again here, because I'm getting newer subscribers, and I don't know if you guys are going back and checking out my content. But when you look at the black race as a whole, and then I'm going to talk about black women particularly, but when you look at the black race as a whole, they're the only race on planet Earth that has to state, "I'm black and I'm proud." Now, granted, I understand why we have to do certain things. We are a broken people, and you can go back and check out my earlier videos. I don't have time to break down everything again because these videos would be super long. But we've been mentally broken down, financially broken down, spiritually broken down, physically broken down in some ways, a lot of ways. And so when you have hundreds of years of being programmed to hate yourself, and then when you come out of slavery, there's no mental health program for you. There's no transition plan for you. One day you're a slave, and the next day you're free. But you're still walking around with a slave's mentality, even until 2023, you can even say. So I get it. There's context behind that. But at the same time, if you know nobody's going to fix it, at some point in time, the onus has to be on you to fix yourself. But when you look at black individuals who in the 60s and 70s, when you have to walk around stating, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud," and you have to say, right, you have to have these proclamations and these platitudes about being proud to be black, then you're actually really not proud to be black. You're just trying to. Some of us are. Some people were, but there was a lot. Those slogans were made up to kind of help the weak minded and the feeble minded. There was a lot of people who were strong willed and proud to be black. You know, you can look at the Honorable Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You can look at Farrakhan. You can look at Jesse Jackson. I believe those individuals are and were proud to be black. You can look at Patrice Lumumba, Nelson Mandela, and even people, common everyday people that don't get recognition, whose names go unknown. But for a lot of people, they aren't proud to be black. That's why you see the first thing that a black man did when he got free was got him a white woman. Because he wanted to have a white woman on his arm because it showed that it gave him some sort of sense of worth, that, he had a white woman. You always hear black people talk about, there's some white people living in my neighborhood, or I live in a white neighborhood, because it validates them. They're not proud to live amongst their own people. They love to be proud to be the only black person on the job. I'm the first black person I'm the only black person here. When you have to have these proclamations that I'm proud, I'm black and I'm proud. You're not black and you're not proud. Those individuals who say those type of stuff and repeat those lines, they're not proud. They're really not. I mean, if you're just saying it in everyday passing, like, yeah, I'm proud, but if you have to start saying slogans and platitudes, you're trying to convince yourself. And so the reason why I'm bringing that up is when you look at the state of black male, black female relationships, and you look at a bunch of black men who want a black woman, but the black women don't want them. But yet these black women, they go on, you watch a lot of these video channels. I was just watching. The reason why I'm kind of bringing this video up is because I was watching this girl on Kendra G's channel. I'm not even going to bring up the specifics about it. I was even watching another girl. She has her own channel on TikTok. And she was like, yeah, because I'm beautiful, right? So you look at my face. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, you're average looking. But everybody, they can't just say, yeah, I look good. I'm a decent looking person. Because to say you look decent is kind of like putting yourself down. Women have to have these beliefs. And it was even like a huge woman, like when you watch like some videos in the manosphere or in the red pill community, whatever you want to call it, there's like this super huge white woman. She's super huge. And she says, I'm a boss big. And then the guy asked her, he's like, well, what is a boss bee? And she's like, somebody who knows they look good. And she's just pumping herself up. And it's just kind of like, but you don't look at yourself. I think I'm a relatively decent looking guy. But with the way these females are treating me, I'm starting to lose even self-confidence in myself. I'm about to start making up slogans for myself to kind of convince myself that I'm decent looking. I don't know. But I think the problem is when you have these delusions of grandeur where all of these women are walking around stating these platitudes like, I'm beautiful and I'm bad, I'm a queen. When you have to say you're a queen, you're not a queen. When you have to keep stating and affirming that you're beautiful, you're not beautiful. You don't see Halle Berry talking like that. Now, again, we don't know Halle Berry in her regular life, but I can guarantee you one thing. Halle Berry's been told she's beautiful so much she don't want to hear it. Beautiful women they don't even want to hear that word. She's been told she's been beautiful so much that I guarantee you she don't want to hear. She's one of them women that'll say, I want people to accept me for my intelligence and not look at the physical. That's what a pretty person said. When you ask a person with money, like my friends that have money, and I do decent, I do fairly well myself, but my friends that are above me, man, don't even look at that car, man. That car come with a lot of problems, man, and then the maintenance. They downplay everything they have. Everything they have, they downplay. yeah, the house, man, it's okay, man. But because then they kind of deflect and be like, yeah, man, but tell me about your stuff, man. You got a lot going on. They will deflect all day long. They don't have everything that they had. They downplay it. They're not doing anything, but yet they got all these businesses. They doing this. They doing that. They're legitimately hustling and making great, outstanding money. But they don't pump themselves up like that. They're not on any of these social media platforms posting any pictures about what they do, where they been, how they doing it, what they doing it. If they do that, I have one friend that does that I know of for sure. But he's in that type of world where he interacts with particular individuals in the media world. So he posts because it's kind of like he lives in that media space. So he's posting because he's tagging them, because once he tags them, he's kind of mutually beneficial for his business. So that's why he does that. And so, but everybody else, they don't live on these platforms. But when you have individuals that constantly figure as though they got to tell you what they're doing and tell you how big they're living and how big they're doing it, they're not doing it big. And specifically getting back to these women, when you have to continue to get up here and try and tell us how beautiful you are and how much of a queen you are, and when y'all have to pump yourselves up like, yeah, girl, because you beautiful, girl, you're just because it is that you have such low self-esteem that you feel as though you need to reinforce that. And then also the additional reinforcement comes where you have to reject now the men that love you, the men that want to be with you, but you don't want to be with them. And you got all the excuses of why you don't want to pick certain men and why you're picking these men over these other men because you're broke, and you make up every excuse on why you date and do the things that you do. And I'm going to talk about that in another video because that's a whole different subject. But these women, they're super big and they convince themselves that they're curvy. I'm thick. I'm a stallion. But you're big. You're really just big. And a lot of women, they've been blessed where they don't have any upper body fat. Like I see them, they really don't have a stomach. They don't have, they may not have like super huge breasts, but they really don't have a stomach. But all of their weight is in their buttocks and in their thighs and even in their calves. But they don't consider themselves fat because they don't have a stomach. They just consider themselves thick and think that men find that voluptuous and attractive. Really, men, we're just going to hit anything, but you are fat. You're overweight. Your bottom half of your body, you've just been blessed to be pear-shaped as opposed to being apple-shaped. Or, pear-shaped as in your fat is below your body. Your fatness is below your body. Most people don't want the stomach fat. But you're still fat nonetheless. You need to work off your thighs, work off your calves, and work off your buttocks. We find you can be a skinny woman. Like you look at Tiana Taylor. When we consider a fat buttocks, like when we say, dang, she got a fat, you know what? Yeah, we do look at some thick women, but for the most part, we're looking at it because it's tight, it's firm, and it sits up high. Like you look at, for example, Tiana Taylor, no disrespect to her husband, but when you look at her, we would say, yeah, she has a fat, you know what, because she's small, but her buttock sits up high and it's firm. It's like a basketball. But a lot of you women think that just because y'all weigh 400 pounds and 350 of those 400 pounds are in your buttocks, that you're nice. But once you take off them big bloomers and see all of them dents and everything, it's not. But you gas yourself up and you think just because you got a little body that you can start rejecting men because other men will just sleep with you. And you don't look at it. All of these, I'm just saying stuff. What I'm going to say now is guys on the internet have already been saying, you can get men to sleep with you, but you can't get a quality man to stay with you. That's the thing. So, but you women have these platitudes where you don't hold yourselves accountable. And it's similar to the black race in this particular sense. This is the detriment of why I'm pointing the finger at women. Because the detriment is this. When you look at the black race right now, the black race for the past couple of years, under Democrat control and under very liberal control, we've allowed to say, black people have had it hard, and we have. We get that. But when you see all these young black kids out here committing crimes, doing all of these mass, these flash mob type of thefts in these stores and doing all this and carjacking people and doing all of this stuff, and we don't mention it and say, look, we have a problem in our community, you guys are messing up, and we don't point out the degeneracy in our neighborhood and say it's you. This is the problem and these are the problems in our community, and we don't call a spade a spade. That's why you're going to continually have the problems in your neighborhood, because you don't call the stuff out. And so similar to that, when you start neglecting to point the finger and have truthful conversations and tell somebody, look, you're trash. Like if you don't tell your friend, look, your music is trash. You don't do this, you don't do that. If you just keep telling people, yeah, man, those beats are tight. If you just have yes men around you all the time, you know what's going to happen? You're going to wind up in jail because your yes men are telling you, yeah, man, go ahead, slap them because you the king of R&B or you the king of hip hop, whatever it is that you think you're the king of, and you have your friends gassing you up. And then you're going to wind up either in jail, you're going to wind up broke, or you're going to wind up in a bad place, or just wind up not selling records or whatever it is because you allow a bunch of yes men around you. And that's what these females have, is they have a bunch of yes women surrounding each other, telling each other we're beautiful, we're above all men, we deserve better than whatever it is that's out there. Don't talk to these particular type of men, but they all get together, and every week they have the same conversations about how they had to break up with so and so because all they want to do is live in drama. They love drama. If a man is treating them right and the relationship is going smooth and there's no arguments and she's not being treated bad, then and she doesn't have any drama to talk about with her friends, there's no point in being in a relationship because the guy's boring and dull. But because she deems herself a 10 and she deems herself above him, then, and she has this delusion about who she is, what she actually looks like, what she actually needs to work on as far as her facial features and her physical features and her behavior, because she's being force-fed lies by herself and by her peers. She continually lives in a state of delusion and chaos. Well, this is the Political Brown Kid, and that's all I have to say. If you have any comments, please drop them in the comment section, and also definitely hit the like and subscribe button. But once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. I'm out of here.